Ну давай запишемо видео.
Сука, уже, блядь, на самокатах хуярят, блядь. Шпыль столбом, блядь, ёпта.
Russian propagandist Nikita Golden from the Zvezda TV channel has died from a wound in the Luhansk region. It is noted that the propagandist had been in the hospital in serious condition for almost a month and a half and had passed away on April 22nd. He was wounded as a result of the shelling of the village of Mikhailivka in the Seversko-Donetsk district of the Luhansk region. At that time, it became known about the death of military correspondent of Izvestia Alexander Fedorchak and two employees of the Russian Zvezda TV channel crew, cameraman Andrei Panov and the host of the filming group Alexander Serkeli. Along with them was Nikita Golden, who survived but sustained serious injuries and was taken to the hospital. The Russians claimed that the propagandists were eliminated by supposedly 2 rockets from the HIMARS rocket system. The settlement where the group of Russians was destroyed is located approximately 30 kilometers from the front line. On March 26th, it became known about the death of Russian Channel 1 propagandist Anna Prokofyeva in the Belgorod region. This allegedly happened near the settlement of Demidivka. At that time, the details of her death were not disclosed. While carrying out an editorial task, military correspondent of Channel 1, Anna Prokofyeva, was killed, wrote a propagandist on his channel. The day before, on her Telegram channel, the propagandist had posted a photo with the caption, "Somewhere on the border with country 404, referring to Ukraine. In August 2024, one of the most high-profile Russian pro-government propagandists, Evgeny Podubny, was attacked by an FPV drone in the Kursk region. Immediately after the incident, reports about his death began circulating online, but the information turned out to be premature. He sustained severe burns, a traumatic brain injury, and facial skull fractures, but ultimately survived. Ukrainian troops operating in the Kursk region report that incidents of Russian scooter assaults are becoming increasingly frequent.
Ну давай запишемо видео.
Сука, уже, блядь, на самокатах хуярят, блядь. Шпыль столбом, блядь, ёпта.
Суки, блядь.
Я
A dramatic address by a Russian soldier to all his fellow servicemen, supposedly meant to change something. But the truth is, Russia couldn't care less about how many of its own people it loses in this war.
Джамба всем, джамба. Товарищи военные, товарищи главнокомандующие, командиры и все остальные, блядь. Объясните мне одно, почему мы, наемники, блядь, умнее, чем вы? Из-за вас один геморрой, блядь. Когда вы, сука, начнете башкой думать, а не жопами своими, сука, блядь. Из-за вас пацаны погибают, блядь. Нормальные, адекватные, толковые. Все, давайте, умнейте, блядь, бараны ебаные.
A former U.S. Army intelligence analyst has been sentenced for selling classified information and confidential documents, including those related to the war in Ukraine. The U.S. Department of Justice reported on this. It was noted that Corbijn Schultz had been sentenced to 7 years in prison for conspiring to collect and transmit information about the national defense of the United States to an individual he believed to be connected to the Chinese government. According to the Department of Justice, from May 2022 to March 2024, Schultz transmitted dozens of sensitive U.S. military documents to a contact in China. Among them were a U.S. Army document analyzing lessons learned from the Russia-Ukraine war, some technical instructions, as well as data on American military satellites and missile defense systems. He was instructed to prioritize transmitting original and exclusive documents related to the war in Ukraine and the operation of important U.S. military systems and their capabilities. For this activity, the sergeant and intelligence analyst received $42,000. In August 2024, Schultz pleaded guilty to the charges that had been brought against him earlier. Schultz provided documents and data related to U.S. military capabilities, including his Army unit's operational order before it was deployed to Eastern Europe in support of NATO operations. Lessons learned by the U.S. Army from the Ukrainian-Russian conflict applicable to Taiwan's defense. Technical manuals for the HH-60 helicopter, F-22A fighter aircraft, and intercontinental ballistic missile systems, information on Chinese military tactics and the People's Liberation Army Rocket Force, the details on U.S. military exercises in the Republic of Korea and the Philippines, documents concerning U.S. military satellites and missile defense systems like the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, HIMARS, and Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, THAAD, tactics for countering unmanned aerial systems in large-scale combat operations. This defendant swore an oath to defend the United States. Instead, he betrayed it for a payout and put America's military and service members at risk, said Attorney General Pamela Bondi. The Justice Department remains vigilant against China's efforts to target our military and will ensure that those who leak military secrets spend years behind bars. This year, in March, it was reported that 2 U.S. Army soldiers and a former soldier had been arrested on charges of selling military secrets to buyers in China, including information about HIMARS rocket systems and armored vehicles. American right-wing political commentator and podcast host Tim Pool was outraged at the White House that Zelensky didn't wear a suit to meet with Trump. Here's how he himself showed up there yesterday.
Many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland Man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat. So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you could comment on that unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure. Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the
Odessa was once again under attack by Russian drones. Civilian infrastructure has been damaged. Multiple fires have broken out in residential buildings and private businesses across the city. Russian propagandists plan to capture Transnistria and liberate Gagauzia.
I think that we need to plan, not stop, move forward.
Yes, Transnistria is waiting. I am not even talking about Kherson, Odessa, Mykolaiv, but we need it. Well, how? Such a beautiful woman is kept in captivity. We must liberate everything, as in Russian folktales. Yes, they seized the position, which has a very pretty name, Bashkan. Bashkan, right? Yes, they seized the Bashkan, need to free the Bashkan. She is under house arrest, but that's not the point. We need to get out regardless. We'll take Vasily Dmitrievich. He appreciates female beauty. He's a specialist in Bashkans. Yes, he will definitely help us.
History repeats itself in the territory of Bessarabia, in the territory of Moldova. There, by the way, is Gagauzia, the southern part. It was there that Count Rumyantsev defeated an army of 100,000 malicious Janissaries. There are such epitaphs. There's a very beautiful monument which threatened all of Europe. It will have to happen again.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.